we are back here with Mr. Mitch. This guy is the king of owner financing. He's got the crown. He owns the crown, actually.
If you're watching us, I mean,
hey, literally, we're just having a blast here because Mitch is really bringing the truth behind, what being in real estate is all about. It's not just about, Lambos and Ferraris and the
big old checks.
The big old checks. People with like $30,000 and $40,000 checks. He's actually being very humble when it comes to opening up and allowing you into his story on how he was actually coming up through the ranks when he started buying and selling owner financing. So we stopped on the last one, on the last 30-minute podcast, if you listen to this on the Renovating Riches Radio, where he's now figuring out how to go from landlord to a bank. What happens after that, Mitch? What was the next, I guess, aha moment, and how did your business evolve from there?
Well, I didn't make a lot of changes fast. I stuck in one place probably too long. So for the next 10 years, I was working pretty much in a shell of a infrastructure, not too hefty. Me and a couple other people. And I got every hat on. I'm the buyer. I'm the seller. I'm the HR person. I'm the advertising person. I'm the guy who has to go out and find the money. I'm the guy who was doing collections.
General contractor. Keeping your crews.
Yeah, too many hats, man. Yes. Way too many hats. So I try about 5 times in my career at different times when I just get up to here, burned out really, to try to change, and I failed all 5 times. And then I started thinking about when I grew the most, what happened? What did I do when I was in trouble or wanted to accomplish something? What was it I did? And I remembered I always paid someone who had already been there to do it and show me how. So I thought, well, how am I going to get someone to show me how to automate this business, or how am I going to, so I don't have to work in this business anymore, I could run the business from up here.
Yes.
So I started asking around, and I found a mastermind that had about 83 people that probably were there, and at least 40 of them could operate their business from anywhere in the country. And they were all doing basically more or less what I was doing. They were doing something in real estate. So I joined up for that. Looking back at it, overall cost me about $30,000, counting airline tickets and hotels and rent cars and Ubers and dinners and all that, and the seat at the table. And so I went there wholeheartedly open, a mental to go there open.
Right. Which is very important. Some people just go there thinking that they know everything, and it's hard.
They're going to teach everybody there what they do and how they got ultra rich.
It's hard to learn on those terms, right? When you...
I went there, it's like thinking, I'm going to listen 5 times more than I talk, at least. And I'm going to drink the Kool-Aid. I'm going to let them unwind me. And then I'm going to see if I can't get them to rewind me a different way so that I get a result that I want. So I went there, I learned what to do. I met a lot of incredible people. They're still my friends today. It's one of the things on a mastermind I didn't calculate, is that some of the people that I met there are still my confidants and people I can call 6 and 8 and 10 years later. So I went home. And I realized one of the other reasons why it's hard to do this was I was used to buying 100 houses a year, more or less. And in order to fix this broken office, I was going to have to quit doing all that, and I was going to have to work on this friggin' office. You know what I mean?
Right.
I get people, hire them, try to figure out who's good, train them, whatever. So what happened was that year, not only did I spend $30,000 on the training, but I only did 33 houses instead of 100, so I lost 67 deals out of it. I don't know how much those 67 deals would have been worth to me, but probably hundreds of thousands of dollars, you know what I mean? So, but I didn't have a choice because I was so burned out, and how I got to the decision was I was going to quit. I have all my storages, I have an income, it comes in. I was going to quit this business, but in the back of my mind, it kept gnawing at me. It says, you're going to walk away from a business that makes like $1 million a year, and you're just going to throw it in the trash can because you're friggin' tired. Wouldn't it be better to pay half of that $1 million to the people that ran it, and you kept 500,000 and didn't have to do it anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought I was going to have to take like a 40-50% cut in pay to get people to sit in those chairs,
And gain your freedom back.
get my freedom, but still have a check.
Yeah.
Right.
You know.
Yeah.
So I said, well, that's a no-brainer. I'm going to go do it that way or C. But I was so intimidated after failing the first 5 times that I wasn't sure they could fix me. Maybe there was something really wrong with me up here or something, like I wasn't going to get it or something.
Mm-hmm.
But I went there. They fixed me. I went back. I committed. I got people in the chairs. I got set up mostly where people get paid upon success. Like, so I was scared to death of building a hamster wheel I couldn't get off of.
Mm-hmm.
So like 85% of the people in my organization, they only get paid when I get paid.
Right.
Now they get paid well because they're getting paid like that.
Mm-hmm.
You can't pay them regular. If they're going to only get paid when the money hits the
if
table, they got to get a bigger piece, right?
If they're showing up for the check on Friday, then you don't need them there.
Yeah. So what I've learned was, or what happened was, I didn't take a cut in pay. Actually, I made more money than I was making without when I didn't have them. I was making more money than when I didn't have that overhead. And I figured out why was that my acquisition manager, he was so much better at acquisition than me. Not because one-on-one he's better than me at it, but he could focus on only that thing. That was his only job. And I'm better than him if that's all I had to do, but I can't do that.
Yeah, you're running with, like you said, 5 different hats.
Yeah. I couldn't do that. He wasn't quite as good as me, or let's just say no one's better than me at buying houses. Okay, so let's get that out of the way right now. Okay, so he wasn't as good as me. I'm saying that tongue in cheek, guys. But in my mind, really though, he was never going to be as good as me because he hadn't had as much experience as me, and it's going to take him a long time to get 15 years worth of experience. But he was better than me because he was focused on it every day, 8 hours a day, and it's all he focused on. Mm-hmm. So he would produce more than me, even though he was not quite as good at it as I was. And so I learned to take less talent, but stronger focus would still get me where I was going. And then the salesperson wasn't as good at me at selling my houses. Sometimes I cringed when I listened to them selling houses, like, nah, this ain't gonna work. But she sold more houses than I could in a month because I couldn't devote my whole time to selling houses, and that's all she did. Now, if my people, and I kept them all separate, they don't even in the same room or the same office. It's all separate, okay? So, because the minute she starts saying, well, I want to buy houses, I'm going to say, okay, well, look, you want to go find houses? Then just turn in your shit at the office and go, because I don't need someone who wants to find houses. You're my salesman. I need someone who needs to sell houses. Right. You don't want to sell houses anymore, just let me know.
Yeah.
The day that I see that you're out buying houses, you just split your
You just bought your ticket out.
Yeah, but you just split your focus on my problem, and I don't need anyone to split their focus. I'm paying you the way I'm paying you to devote 100% of your time to solve my issue. If you don't want to do that anymore, no problem, and I don't have a problem. You go sell houses, buy houses you want to, do it. But I'm looking for someone 100% in this lane, and I'm looking for 100% in this lane. And so whatever I got someone doing, they're 100%, and it's none of their business what the other guy does it or how it does it. And sometimes it's not even any of their business on where the leads are coming from or whatever. I keep a lot of proprietary stuff like over there in the back attic somewhere,
Yeah.
I get it.
Acquisition guys goes, where are you getting all these leads? Says, don't worry about that. Just start calling them.
Yep.
So
your job is to milk the leads, not to worry about where they come from.
So one of the things, like in the acquisition things, was I used to hire people from the real estate clubs, or I want to be in real estate, can I come work for you, whatever, or I'm in real estate, I could be one of your workers or whatever. I soon learned that I didn't want people that were interested in real estate. If I needed an acquisition man, I needed a guy who was a negotiator who could sell a product or an idea. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So I stopped looking for my people in the real estate realm, and I started looking for who's the top car salesman on this street, or who's the top Hoover vacuum cleaner guy, or whatever, and how much are they making? Well, that guy's making $45,000 as a car salesman. Can he make more with me? Hell yeah, he can if he's good. Hoover vacuum cleaner, he's making $35,000. Can he make more with me? Yeah, he can. Okay, so they don't know anything about real estate. It would take them years to get to that point, Mm-hmm. And so I just wanted to hire the best salesman I could. And then I started, one of the smartest things I did was I started having them tested. Personality test. So I'm testing them, and what I'm trying to find is I need someone who's super motivated, self-motivated, gets himself out of bed, gets cranked up, gets rolling by himself.
Someone's hungry.
I need someone who's responsible, understands what their commitment is, and will honor their commitment. I need someone with honesty and integrity. I need someone who's money motivated. They really want to make. They want to go from 35,000 to 65,000 or 80,000 or 100,000. They want to, and I'm going to show them how they can if they're good at this. And then there's a couple of other things I test for that. These were all very positive qualities. Then I test for what I consider to be a little more negative qualities. I want to make sure that the person that I'm hiring is a very bad personal money manager for himself. And it doesn't sound pretty, but I need this guy to be on the edge all the time. Because if he's a really great saver,
Stays motivated.
yeah, he stays motivated. If he's a really great saver, he might build up enough money to go start another business and get the 6 months it takes before you make
Or
it.
he'll be comfortable to where he's
Or
not
he
as
won't, or
hungry
he'll get
anymore.
comfortable and he won't go out. And then the last thing I test for, which is an absolute positive, was he couldn't have an entrepreneurial bone in his body.
Yeah, you're looking for
I'm looking for worker
executors.
bees.
Yeah,
I'm looking for worker bees,
Yeah.
not queen bees,
And
not
I guess
king bees.
I guess you do like an online psychological profiling with them, where they do a test, and that's
Yeah,
how
just
you know.
hire a company.
Okay,
yeah. There's a bunch
that's a very very good.
Look, if you're
as
listening
well.
It's
to this.
expensive though, but I mean, it's
Yeah,
a
but
lot
it
more
saves you a lot
expensive
of
to
money.
train this guy for a year and then
and
they
then
go off.
find out that person didn't work. So basically, you're just describing how you went from working in your business to working on your business.
Yeah, and so
And how you profit tremendously by doing that, getting yourself out of.
I got to get myself out of the way. I was in the
Exactly.
way. I was in the way of all of it.
Yes.
And that was the hardest thing, is to realize that I'm the one blocking all the growth because I can only do so much a day and I was in the way.
Yeah.
That was the hardest thing in the world for me to settle up with, you know, or even to realize in the first place.
Yeah.
I thought I was the one that was making it all happen. At some point in my life, I came to the conclusion, like, yeah, you've made it all happen up to this point. Now at this point, you're the one in the way.
Yeah.
So, so now to today, I haven't seen the last 300 houses I bought, and I have not seen the last 300 houses that bought 300 people that bought my houses.
Right.
Haven't seen them. I haven't been to a closing in 15 years. I mastered that early on
right.
because I just couldn't do it. And plus, you could show me all those papers, and honestly,
Just sign.
I didn't
sign,
understand it.
sign.
Didn't care. I just. My
knew that if you
my
signed-
lawyers told me the ramifications of all this stuff, and if I did this and this and this, that I'd end up with the money, and that's what I cared about. I'm real good at like listening to something and deciding, okay, because of everything you told me, I'm going to do A. You asked me 30 days later, or a year later, or a year and a half later, why are you doing A? I said, I don't remember why. I just remember that at the time I needed to make that decision. That was the decision that made, and there was a
Yeah.
lot of good reasons for it.
Yeah.
Because I'm on to really what I do best. I want to buy houses and sell houses. That's what I don't want to know paperwork. I don't want to know. I don't care to be an expert in that. I don't care to be an expert on building Podio. I'll go tell the guy that knows how to build Podio what I want to do.
Yes.
And why did I pick Podio over whatever the other one was? I don't remember now, but there was a time when they told me about the ones I picked. You know, but I don't care.
You know what, Mitch? I was having this conversation last night with a guy that he's asking me about systems and all of these things, and I'm like, why are you worried about all those things, man? You need to go buy a house. You don't need to worry about the call rail or the podium.
That's
or
right.
You know, all of those things, they're actually going to cost you money, man. So
And time, and they're going to take away from your focus.
analysis paralysis. So, all right. So, man, I love that you share this with our audience because for a lot of us that are working in the business, and we're going to include ourselves in it,
We're still doing.
we still do
Every
a lot
day.
of those things. Every
Okay,
day.
well, I'm not saying that I don't work in the business too, because I have a very prominent role that I do work in the business. But my job today is to find the money, to find the private people that want to invest the money. So I'm constantly at dinner, lunch, talking, analyzing. Is that my guy? Are you my guy? Are you my guy?
Yeah.
Who's the guy I need to have lunch with? Who's the guy I need to network with? Where do I need to go? I'm still working in my business to agree, but it's a whole lot more fun to socialize and have dinners and talk to people than it was like to run through these neighborhoods for 15 years the next house, the next house, the next house, fighting with contractors and doing all that
And he
stuff.
gets to a point that he gets old.
Yeah, I'd already done that, man. I did that for 10 years.
You move in your career to other things that time now has allowed you to do other greater things, and I don't know if you want to talk about it, but we already heard an organization that you're helping grow, that it's way higher up there with
Yeah,
lobbyists.
I'm going to Washington and talking to our senators and our rep, Ted Cruz or whoever. We got appointments and we're talking to them about the laws in the state of Texas and federal laws that are affecting the creative real estate investing. What's it called? Industry. Because they know not what they do half the time. They pass these laws, and you have, with Dodd-Frank, if you leave it alone the way it is, middle America won't own a home because it takes people like us, owner financing people, all the other people that can't get a traditional bank loan. What happens to all those other people? Are they just relegated to be renters the rest of their life? Because if you cut people like you and me out of the seller financing department because of your laws and regulations, those are the people that are going to suffer. They're not ever going to be able to own a house.
And even investors and wholesalers, that sometimes are looked or are frowned upon. I mean, these are the people that are fixing houses.
Let me say this.
Houston is a very good example after the flood. I mean, if it wasn't for investors, there will still be hundreds of, I don't know how many houses, but thousands and thousands. I was going to say hundreds of thousands, but
yeah.
I don't know if it gets up there. But, all these houses are being fixed by investors. The same people that sometimes are frowned upon. And they look like, they're just scammers. And
yeah, they only hear, the consumer protection places only hear the complaints. They don't hear the millions of, happy people don't send in letters to their senators or to their reps. They only hear the one bullshit guy. And half of those people are loons. So, because if you deal in enough volume, there's people that you'll never make happy, right? Have you met them? Have you met them?
No,
every day.
Okay, so
I think we talk about it every day.
So
what are the basics of owner financing, Mitch? Can you describe in a nutshell owner financing 101?
Okay, so I find a house that I can buy. Actually, let's start with the beginning. I see a house that I want to buy, and I go figure out what the rents are in the neighborhood, because the core belief of owner financing is that a person paying $1,000 a month rent would rather pay $1,000 to own if they just know how they can become the owner for the same thing. Mm-hmm. So I deal in this price range of houses where I can make that happen, where the rents, given what the rents are, I can make them the owner and make a profit and just move them from paying $1,000 rent to paying $1,000 for a mortgage, plus or minus 50, 60, 70, $100. Okay, pretty close. Usually dead on, but so let's say I see this house, I do the rental formula, and I figure out from the rents that I can afford to sell that house for $110,000. So now that I know what I can sell it for based on the rents, now I can go in and negotiate. So let's say I go in for round numbers, easy numbers, and don't think that this doesn't happen, because it happens all the time. Although it's above average deal that I'm going to spreadsheet. I end up getting this house under contract for $50,000. So I can buy it all in $50,000. I borrow $52,000 from my private lender. My private lender loans me the money at 8% interest only, 5 years, non-recourse, collateral only loan, and he loans it to me, and I owe him about $350 a month. I'm doing round numbers right now, so
yeah, that's fine.
You sticklers out there, don't split hairs with me. Just understand the theory, okay?
Don't be pulling calculators and that kind of stuff, okay? Just go with the flow.
Understand the theory. So now I buy the house at 52. I give my private lender a first lien on my house that I'm going to sell for 110. I give him a first lien for 52,000. Okay?
That's his security.
It's his security. If I don't pay him, he's going to get this house. Then I sell the house for 110, say with 12,000 down. So far in this equation, I picked up $2,000 when I bought it, and I picked up $12,000 in the down payment, so I got $14,000 in my pocket. Now I want to tell you the reason why I borrow the extra $2,000 is because I buy about 100 houses a year, and it takes me about $2,000 to find that guy. Each house, to find that house, it takes me about $2,000. If I run around for a year leaving $2,000 worth of my advertising or whatever it is in every house. 100 houses times 2,000 is $200,000. Okay, for the year that I left laying around. And if I do it 5 years in a row, it's $1 million. Any of you guys got $1 million to leave laying around?
No.
Okay, so that's why I borrow the 2 up front when I borrow. It's hardly over leveraging, is it? I borrowed an extra $2 measly $1,000 to reimburse myself for, really, and I got a house that I'm going to sell for 110. So I'm really opposed against over borrowing on houses, but this extra money to put in my pocket is hardly consequential to this deal.
2,000 is really nothing in the big scheme of things.
Yeah, I will never buy this house over 65%.
Okay.
Okay, I buy houses at 65% or under.
That's 60. Just for our audience, that's 65% ARV of the after repair value.
Yeah, so if it's a $100,000 house, I don't want to be in it more than 65 after the repairs. Not to say that I haven't, but that's my goal. But there's sometimes it makes sense to go a little over or whatever, but that's my baseline.
We've seen a few of those.
Yeah.
Because usually you're going to go over whether you want to or not. So then now I'm collecting $850 and I'm paying out $350. So I picked up $14,000 to create a $500 a month cash flow, of which I am not a landlord. I'm the bank. So when that check comes in for $850 and it clears, and I send out my payment to that other guy, that $500 is mine, and no one 98% of the time should call me back and ever want some of that $500 back. The only time it would go back out is if they don't pay and I have to hire an attorney for a foreclosure and I have to spend a little bit of money. But then I get the house back and I get to get it all back again.
Redo it up.
Now, for those of y'all out there that think that it's really glorious or that it's a business model to take people's houses away from them and sell them again, that's bullshit. That's not what the goal is. The goal is to sell it one time, collect the 30 years worth of payments, and everybody live happily ever after. I take houses because I have to in self-defense. Okay? If someone's not paying me, something has to happen.
Yes.
And I got to move on. That's not my goal. And if I put people in houses, or when I'm looking to put people in houses, if I don't think they're going to make it, then we don't do it. Mm-hmm. You know?
Yeah, you're not setting them up for failure,
or himself.
Yeah.
Which is part of the reason, like, some of the Dodd-Frank laws were created, because someone would have like $30,000 to put down on a $100,000 house. Of course, they worked at Walmart and they only made $1,500 a month, and you knew they weren't going to be able to make it because the house payment's $1,000.
Right.
You knew, but they would do it because they said, "Well, I'm going to get the $30,000, and then when they can't pay, I'll foreclose and I'll sell it again to someone." So that's bullshit. If you want to run your business that way and run your life that way, I believe in what goes around comes around. You'll get yours, sooner or later.
We met a guy like that, and I wanted nothing to do with this guy.
Yeah, he had turned a house over like
18 times. He was bragging about it. Oh, I foreclosed on this thing 18 times, and I just looked at him with awe. I was like, oh my God, this guy is horrible.
No, he's the reason why. That guy is the reason why these laws get passed and encumber people like us and slow us down and everything, because some idiot has the idea that hurting 18 families in a row was a good business plan.
The worst thing about it is he showed up on this brand new Cadillac Escalade, all tricked out. I mean, and just the image and
the whole picture was wrong.
The whole picture was completely wrong. And the lady that he was foreclosing on was dying of cancer. So I walked away. We walked away. We got on my truck that day because we were rehabbing a house maybe 2 houses over, and I was just trying to buy her house. I was like, "Hey, look, let me buy it. I'll get this guy off your back." But it was too late because he already had, all the foreclosure papers and all that. And we drove off, and it was complete silence on my truck. Usually we were, just chit-chatting. And I think
so bad, right?
We were just processing what just happened, and we kind of looked at each other, and we said, we will never be that guy.
Yeah, don't be that guy.
So if you guys are taking notes, you don't do this owner financing strategy for
ripping people
off.
Look, I do my notes. 30 years fixed, no balloon. When I sell my houses, people say, "How come we don't put in a balloon?" I says, because inevitably the balloon time comes, and they can't and won't.
Can't perform.
They're not able to perform, and I'm put in the position to make the decision: do I yank this house out from under them after they've given me a down payment and made 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years worth of payments? They put a pool in the backyard, and they did an addition, and they've done all this stuff. This house, I'm in the position to make the decision of yes or no, and I don't want to be in that position, so I just eliminate the position by eliminating the balloon. I'll solve my financial issues a different way.
Good.
So,
and Mitch, is there? I mean, we got people that are listening to this right now, and they're thinking, okay, I want to learn more. is there a way? I mean, do you offer some training or have any programs?
I'm not a millhouse. I take about 15 people a year personally, where they have my phone number. They call me. You can learn all about it at 1000houses.com/mentoring. That's if you are interested in one-on-one. I'm not expensive as things go, but it's expensive in anyone's book. Coaching's expensive,
time.
you know. But I'm very reasonable compared to anyone else. You can check it out there. But and if that's not really, or you're not ready for that, I have a weekly coaching call that's like $3,500 for the year. I reserve the right to change my prices or whatever. I'm stating it today. This is going to probably be on the internet for however long. Today, it's $3,500 for the year.
That's it.
All right, so Mitch, people that are listening to us right now, they might be asking themselves, is there a way of learning about what you do, owner financing? How can they get in contact with you and maybe have a program or have you mentor them?
Well, so I was going to have my girl put some stuff in the back in there. Just go to renovativeriches.com/owner financing.
Yeah,
Is that what we agreed
actually,
on?
renovatingrichesradio.com /owner financing. There's only one guy, owner financing, and that's this guy to my left. So
just follow through our page, and you'll be able to get in touch with me.
When you go to renovativerichesradio.com /owner financing, there'll be links there to my coaching program, or the one-on-one mentoring, or just the online courses which don't have any access. But my theory of the whole thing in coaching is I'm going to give everybody everything I've got. If you want to order the online which has no access to me, there's enough information there to launch a career. I know people that have done it. They've called me and thanked me. They said that course launched their whole life, and I never talked to them. But that's kind of a AAA 2%er guy. But the point is there's enough information there to launch a career. But other people need more hand-holding or would like the comfort of having a coach in their corner or whatever. So I'm not a real hard sell on this, but I'm real easy to find. And if you want to learn about that, go look. But at the very top level, I take about 15 people a year because that's all. I got 6 businesses. I got a wife and a family. I got a ranch I like to go to. And then, I got some students I got to handle. So I got to make sure, because when I'm one-on-one with you,
you better know at least.
And you dial that number, I'm the one that picks up the phone, not some student that did 20 deals last year. I mean, I'm the one that picks it up. 1,500 deals behind me, 22 years. A lot of broken noses, a lot of broken jaws, a lot of bones, teeth. I mean, had my hair pulled, been dragged down the street.
That experience.
That will all be in your favor, because I know I've learned how to stop it, and I can keep you from getting out of those positions. One thing you can always measure a coach by is by how much money they made you, but you'll never be able to measure how much he kept you from losing, because there'll be no number.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, where does Mitch go from here? Like, what's your next step?
I retired and I got bored, so I started my podcast, reinvestorsummit.com. And right now, I'm just cruising along, helping people. And what's making me smile right now is I'm helping a whole bunch of people be able to quit their job. And that's like, the Dave Ramsey, let's do the primal scream, I'm debt free. We're doing screams at our office like, I just told my boss to shove it.
You know what? That's a great motivation right there, man. Because
that was my motivation. I wanted to tell my boss that I no longer needed his services.
Well, ladies and gents,
we're getting to the end here.
Kids and adults, and everybody that's listening to this podcast right now, I hope you took a lot of notes. If you need to go back and listen to this again. Connect with all the strategies that Mitch was teaching us, because I'm learning as I go. Even though we're a little bit more advanced and sophisticated, remember that this is not about us. It's about you, the one that's watching, the one that's listening. And you need to take those things and put them into action. Take action is the one thing I can tell you. This is an action taker. I mean, he fell down and got back up, and he fell down and back. He looked like one of those little,
the
bouncy little things.
I know,
that
you
punch and they just go down, and they just refuse to stay down, right?
That's really pretty close to what really
It's pretty close to what happened to you, and I admire that, because there's only, that's what I believe. That's how a man is really measured, is by how you can overcome all your obstacles and how you grow out of it. So this is a perfect explanation of somebody that went through a lot of struggles. figured a bunch of things out, got rich and poor within the same year, probably 2 or 3 times, and here he is, helping other people out, quit their jobs, achieve their goals, and educate basically, and save you a ton of money in making a lot of mistakes. So
yeah, you're gonna pay the street, or you're gonna pay the coach. The street is relentless.
And this is a coach I would actually personally pay for if I'm actually doing. It's not if, it's when I do it. Probably next week or so. What's the link there? So, anyways, with that being said, Dennis.
No, I just want to say thank you to everyone. Remember to give us a thumbs up, leave a review, share with your friends and family and people that are interested in the real estate market about what we do.
And you can do it, but you need to love me. So I want the heart thing. I want to see all hearts on that thing.
Yeah, all hearts and 5-star reviews.
You can like those guys, but I demand
what
love.
What about your podcast? What's your podcast?
I demand love. Where's my podcast?
Yes.
REInvestorsummit.com.
REInvestorsummit.com. So check it out.
Well, with that, thank you, everyone. Thank you, Mitch, again for having us here in your beautiful property. And we'll see you next week with another interview.